my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Man Cave. It is Monday. I hope everybody had a good weekend. I had an incredibly productive weekend. Well, I don't even know if that's a good way to put it. I worked hard. Let's just say it that way. I worked pretty much 12-hour days both days and just worked solid. Finally think I've got the splitter more or less finished. And every time I say that, I always have like one more little thing. I have one more little thing to do, but it should only take a few minutes. And that's right there is what kills you. When you say it's only going to take a few minutes, it usually takes an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, something like that. I had one job over the weekend that should have only taken 30 minutes, and it took 4 solid hours. I mean, I couldn't do nothing but just work on that for 4 hours. What a mess. Anyway, other than that, everything's perfect. Arc Captain, the one that sent me that welder that I like so well, they sent me a new plasma cutter. Just got it this morning, and I haven't even unboxed it yet, but it looks like it's going to be a nice outfit. I know their welder. I'm just in love with their welder. I also have a carbon monoxide detector sitting here that I haven't done a video on yet. So I've got those two to do. And, you know, the video I did on that welding helmet, I really do like that welding helmet that I got. It by... now I can't think of their name. But anyway, it was a really nice welding helmet. Had all the bells and whistles. But the darn thing quit working over the weekend. But I don't know if there was something in the air or what, but every one of my welding helmets, and I have like 5 or 6 that are auto detecting of the lights. You know, they go dark whenever, auto darkening is what I was trying to say. All of them quit working. Every single one of them. That just doesn't happen, but it did happen. I don't know. There's something in the air, man. I'm telling you. I don't know how to explain it, but like I said, don't ever get behind me at a checkout line. Don't do that. You just know if you see me, go to a different line because you're going to get held up if you're in my line. I don't know. It's just something like that. I don't know how to explain it. It just doesn't make any sense, but it happens. It happens all the time. Like, I mean, 5 welding helmets, none of them worked. Not one of them. And I'm not exaggerating. None of them worked. I got one of them working today by putting a new battery in it. The other ones, I don't know what's wrong with them. I just don't get it. It's just not easy being me, but you probably never heard that before. Frozen Waterwheel was in the title of today's video. Well, this is kind of cool looking. Take a look at this. Well, what do you think about that sight? Look at there. I never knew that would happen. Well, I didn't expect it to happen, to look like that. Let's say it that way. I expected it to happen, but that's a pretty even distribution of ice on the spokes. That's pretty cool. It still keeps it rolling too. That's pretty amazing. Is there ice up in this? No, not right now, but there's a little bit of flow blockage there. I think I'll knock that out of the way. You can see it's kind of going down. Just there you go. Another leaf back here, so that'll get rid of most of the blockage there. Make the water flow a little better. Well, that was different. That actually surprised me. I went to get the mail and I turned around and came back and I looked at the water wheel and I saw all that ice on there and I thought, well, that's pretty cool. I didn't expect it to look like that. I don't know what I was expecting exactly, but that wasn't it. I thought that looked pretty neat. And I guess that steel, steel gets really cold in the air like that, and I guess that's why that all froze real easy. Of course, the wood, doesn't freeze as easily, and that's why it just stuck to the wheel. But anyway, I talked about the log splitter so much lately, and here's the current status of that. This is a little longer video. Well, my friends, here it is Monday morning. It's almost 11 o'clock a.m. This morning, I welded on these eyes. Everything's upside down, just so you understand. These eyes hook onto here, or whatever you want to call these things. Ears, I guess, is better than eyes, because that's what they are. And then these pins go through here and through here and here. So but it is upside down, and I have it upside down for a purpose. I just tested it after I put those ears on, because I rebuilt this connector right here. I didn't know you could rebuild these. I had an old connector that I took the seal out of and put the seal in this one. The old connector wouldn't work on this. It was made different, but the seal was the same. And so the seal in this one was really bad. This snaps into this. It's hard to explain, but this here pushes back and connects. It's a quick connect onto this. Well, anyway, this piece right here was the part that was leaking, and it had a bad seal. So I didn't know you could rebuild that, but anyway, I took it apart, put a new seal in it. Now it's working. It's not leaking. So I was testing this. So that's why I have it hooked up kind of temporarily. But when I tested it, I did have it up the other way, really what you would call right side up, because right now it's upside down. Well, for whatever reason, that time when I tested it, this got pushed into this. Now, that's never happened before, and you can see it pushed this up. I don't know. I just can't win for losing. So I got to fix that. But other than that, I think it's completely finished, and it works really well. I've split a couple of boards with it, or I should say logs with it, and it split it no problem. It seems to have plenty of power. It's light enough that I think this machine can handle it. It's heavy. It's heavy for you or me, but this machine was picking up some really heavy stuff the other day. I was picking up some gigantic logs that were huge and heavy, way heavier than this thing is. And I can actually pick this up myself, but just barely. I mean, it's pretty heavy. But anyway, it's looking good. I think we're on the home run stretch now. I think I can connect it up. It took me 4 hours to make those two pieces there and get them lined up and everything. It took me 4 hours, and I mean solid work. It should have only been a 30-minute job, and I promise you, it could have easily been a 30-minute job. But everything I tried to make these holes broke, failed, went dull, whatever. Nothing worked. Finally, I put them on my rotary table and put them in my milling machine and actually rounded them out. I got them perfect. I mean, they're really good, but it took forever. It was the most complicated part of the whole build, was making these two things, and I'm not exaggerating. That took forever. But really, everything works really good now. I think what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and cut this out so that won't happen again. I didn't know it could go that far and do that. I didn't think it could, because I thought it stopped before. But regardless, I think other than that little minor detail, I think we're in really good shape. You can see how I've got it connected in the back here. There's a long pin that goes all the way through. And I put spacers in here. There's heavy spacers that keep the cylinder in the center of the thing. You can probably see the spacers here. Here's a spacer, and there's another matching spacer on the bottom to keep the cylinder in the center. This piece of pipe inside here slides inside here and keeps this thing retained. And I don't know, it just seems like it's in pretty darn good shape now. Maybe, well, this afternoon I definitely have to go cut wood. I don't know if I'll have this thing ready to go by this afternoon to split the wood, but by tomorrow I'll be splitting wood with this for sure. At least I feel like I will. Assuming nothing else goes wrong, and sometimes that's a huge assumption.
I'm telling you, you cannot believe, if it could, it absolutely did go wrong on this project. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. You couldn't believe the number of things that broke, failed, went dull, something. Just something had to happen every time I did every step pretty much. But I'm happy with it now. We've got her done. I'm not lying. I probably could have split 5 truckloads of wood for the amount of work I put into this. I'm not exaggerating. It probably took that much labor to get this done. But it's done, and at least if it works, which I hope it will, I'll be able to use it for years and years to come. Well, I thought I might as well show you that it does function here, so might as well show you how to start this thing too. You have to, this is the on-off switch, if you will. It turns everything on and off. So I'm going to turn that on. That's on. Then here's the key switch to start the motor. And then this right here operates that. Now I got to remember to turn this off or the battery will get run down. But there you go. Look at that thing. It just did what it's supposed to do. Again, that travel somehow is going further this way than I expected. And all of this is the same. It couldn't have changed, I don't think, any way possible. But somehow or another, it's traveling further this direction. So than I expected or thought it would or something. So I'm going to have to cut that out and leave that out, but and straighten that up. But other than that, I think it's finished. I am so tickled, I can't even tell you.
Yeah, the odds of the things that have happened on that project, it just defies all logic. Like I said, 5, at least, for sure, at least 4, and I think there's 5 auto darkening welding helmets. Every one of them quit working on that project. And I don't know, I mean, I've had them for years and they've never quit. They've always worked. And the brand new one, the one that I like so well, it doesn't work at all right now. I don't know. It's just crazy. And I monkeyed with it a little bit trying to get it to work. I charged it up on the charger because it has a USB charger and it still doesn't work. I don't know what happened to it. It's crazy. And but then the annular cutters, these I got one of those mag drills, and I never really found much use for the thing, to be honest with you. And I used it a few times, and then on this project I started using it more. Well, I needed to drill those 4 holes in those ears. And so I got out the 1-inch annular cutter and the mag drill and started, and it wouldn't cut at all. Now, keep in mind, I've already drilled a hole or 2 with it, and it worked great. But that 1-inch cutter was as dull as a butter knife. It wouldn't go through that steel at all. Wouldn't even hardly make a scratch on it. What the heck's up with that? So I thought, well, no big deal. I guess that cutter that came with it was junk, because that was one that came with the drill. So I said, I just bought a new $300 set of annular cutters. So I'll just get out that set and take the 1-inch out of there. Now, that set, the range on that set, I didn't look at it specifically. The range said 7/8 of an inch to 2 inches. So I'm thinking, well, there's a 1-inch cutter in there then, right? Open it up. Guess which cutter doesn't exist in that. The 1 inch, the only one I needed, doesn't come in that set. I was floored. I thought, it didn't have a 1 inch cutter in the set. So I'm out of luck there with the annular cutter. It's not going to work. So then I thought, well, I'll try the 15/16 and round it out. Well, the 15/16 that came with the drill, I drilled one hole with it, and it did perfect. Tried to drill the second hole, got about halfway through, and it said, nope, ain't drilling no more. It wouldn't drill any further. So then I got a smaller one, I think a 7/8, and I got the holes drilled with it, but now they're so tiny they don't do you any good because I need 1 inch. So I tried to ream them out. I couldn't get them reamed out. I tried, I don't know what else, 2 or 3 other things. I didn't have any good twist drills that were 1 inch. And it just one thing then something else. Anyway, like I said, it took me 4 hours to finally get those holes enlarged. It's just nuts, absolutely nuts. Just unbelievable luck on stuff. It's so stupid. It's just ridiculous. It's hard to explain how dumb it is. But then, let's see, today I put the last firewood that I had cut into the wood furnace this morning. Technically, that's a little bit of a lie because there is one more big log out there that's not been split at all, but it's huge, and I'm presently using it for a ladder. I step up on it to work on the wood furnace. I'm trying to fix the LED readout on it. And I haven't been able to fix it yet, but I'm just using that stump as my ladder. So I technically do have firewood there if I needed it, but it's huge. It's probably, it's over 24 inches in diameter. I'd say it's probably 30 inches in diameter. So it would last a whole day or 12 hours anyway if I needed it. But right now, that's the thing I got to do. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to go load up the chainsaws and all the stuff and go cut firewood this afternoon. I can cut enough firewood, to make, 2 or 3 trailer loads. I can cut enough in about an hour to make 2 or 3 trailer loads of wood. And 2 or 3 trailer loads of wood at this time of year, when it's not getting crazy cold, it'll last me a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. So it doesn't take too long to cut enough for 2 weeks, but anyway, I don't know how to explain it. It's just a lot of work. But like I said, I'm doing the work because I choose to do the work. I mean, if I really, really couldn't do the work, I would just move up to the other rental house and we wouldn't have to deal with all this. Obviously, I'm an idiot. Just obviously. That part's a given. Brian Byler was the first one in this morning, it looks like, or this afternoon. I keep saying morning. Eddie Turner and Dottie Hillebrand. And let's see, are there any question marks before we went live? It looks like Tom Armstrong says, good afternoon. Bathroom sink drain plugs up fairly quickly. What would be the best way to convert from 1.25 to 1.5? Sink tailpiece is 1.25, as well as the trap. Well, I don't know that there is any simple way to do that. I mean, I think it's just one of them deals where you just gotta bite the bullet and go for it. I don't know. I mean, I've done that. I always use 1.5. In fact, on all my underground drains, the minimum I'll use is 2 inches. I don't even use 1.5 underground. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any simple tricks or tips that I could give you, and I can't think of any. I mean, that's just one of them deals where you just kind of have to tear it out and put it back in. They do make, converters for all that stuff. There are 1.25 to 1.5 inch converters. And so you can leave like the 1.25 inch as a stub and cut that off and then put a converter on it and go to the 1.5 inch the rest of the way, So, your down stub coming out of your sink, you could leave that 1.25 and then you don't have to deal with the sink drain and all that stuff. That's about the only helpful thing I could tell you on that. But we've got, for sure, I haven't counted lately, but for sure we've got 11 bathrooms on this farm. And guess who put every one of them in? And I mean every single one of them. or I may have not put in the original, but I have tore it completely out and put in a new one. Let's put it that way. So every one of them has been visited by me. I'm almost a plumber. Let's see. Moving on down after we went live here. BH Ringer, how many amps for that new plasma cutter? Well, I guess you'd call it a 50 amp. They call it a cut 50. But there's a lot of differences in those 50 amp plasma cutters, let me tell you for sure. The one that I have from Vivor is a really nice one. I like it pretty well. In fact, I like it a lot. It works really well. But on 3/4 inch, it's just barely, and I mean just barely getting through it. Conversely, now I don't know this for sure yet, but Arc Captain suggested in their for me to do a review on cutting 3/4 inch. So if they're suggesting it, I would say it ought to cut 3/4 inch pretty good, So that's just me talking out loud. I have no idea yet. Haven't even opened the box. But I'm looking forward to trying it because so far that little Arc Captain welder is just a real fine piece of equipment. David Tharp, I'm about as busy as a good humor ice cream vendor in January at the North Pole. I added the North Pole. Yeah, that's not very busy, is it? Let's see. Tom Armstrong, Christmas lights behind the iced Waterwheel would look awesome. Boy, it would, Tom, it really would. Something to think about for sure. I don't know. Believe it or not, there's still ice on it right now. So, yeah. It's the ice had apparently either got on there since then because it's less ice on there now than there was, but it's also evenly distributed. Kim Williford, hi Jerry, that log splitter looks good. I hope it works as good as it looks. Well, Kim, you don't hope it half as much as I do. But thank you. I'm hoping it works really good because, man, I don't think I've worked. I don't even think my sawmill took this much work. I'm not kidding you. Every single thing I'm not. It's like to me, it's like when these things start happening, like all of the welding helmets quit working. I thought maybe I'm not supposed to do this. Maybe somebody's trying to tell me something. Because I'm seriously telling you, this has been one of the toughest projects I've ever done. And I've done a lot of projects. That's crazy. I don't know. Just crazy. Spike Moto. Yeah, the ice on the Waterwheel is very interesting. The way it evenly distributed, of course. If the ice had accumulated unevenly, the wheel would be out of balance and turn funny. Yeah, for sure. But I think that's why it distributed so evenly, is because it's in constant motion, and therefore it drips fairly evenly across the wheel, Dennis Clark, are you those, i.e. the old ladies I get behind and have no cash and don't have card? Well, no, but that happens right in front of me. That's why you don't want to get behind me. Something like that will happen every time I get in line. And either that or when I get up to the cash register, now there's 15 people in front of me just checked out, no problem. But when I get there, the cash register quits working, or the, whatever you want to call that thing, the computer, something happens dang near every time I'm in line. I'm not just making that up. It's true. My wife says I have some sort of an electrical aura that machines don't like. And don't disagree with her. I really don't. And that's pretty bad for a guy who used to design computer systems. Dot Hillbrand, the log splitter looks really good. Hope it works well. Man, I do too. Sidecar Bob says, hi all. Rod Wentler, Jerry, could the auto darkening plastic be subject to low temperatures? Well, I don't, it may be, but the shop is at least, I kept it at probably at least 55 the whole time, and maybe 60 even. So it's not real cold. David Tharp, please make a video of actually splitting a log. Well, I'm planning for sure to do that. You have no idea how excited I will be if this thing actually works. I might get out and actually do a backflip on camera. No, no, I wouldn't do that. There's not a chance. I'd break something for sure. Joe Nigan, the water wheel looks like a winter wonderland. Yeah, it does. I thought that really looked cool. It surprised the heck out of me when I wasn't paying any attention to it. I walk over and I get the mail and I turn around and I start walking back and I look at that and I went, whoa, that really looks cool. Surprised the heck out of me. Dennis Clark says the splitter looks like it's a little slow. Well, that's the hydraulics on the skid, on the mini skid. That's why it'll split going either direction. But I can tell you for sure, it'll split faster than you can do it by hand. Well, well, I shouldn't say that. For the long run, it will. For the long haul, because it don't get tired. It just keeps doing it, And you can split a lot of wood with something like that, especially after you get used to it. Sidecar Bob, anything can be UFO if you are bad enough at identifying things. Anything can be a UFO if you're bad enough at identifying things. Yeah, well, I don't disagree with that. Cup of Cool, that's a nifty little splitter. Hope it'll make your life a bit easier. Work smarter, not harder. Yeah, well, that's the whole goal. And, where I really think it'll shine the most is right at the wood furnace, because a lot of times I'll bring logs in that are, I can get them in the trailer by picking them up and barely get them in the trailer, to be honest with you, half the time. But I don't feel like bringing the log splitter all the way out there in the woods to do that, to split 3 or 4 logs, But when I dump them off here at the furnace, the wood furnace, well, a lot of times I'll hand split them with the splitting maul or an axe or whatever. But if I could just keep that thing parked right there with the splitter on it, well, I could bring in a load of logs and split them all real quick, and then I'm done. So that's the idea. Plus, it doesn't tear up the ground because you can just reach over, split, that kind of thing. You can spin that thing around and you don't have to even drive it. Where the skid steer, in order to split, you have to drive to it and split it and then back up and move over, and then all that moving with the tread, with the tracks, tears up the ground really bad. I'm telling you right now, my log splitter that I have for my skid steer is 10 times more powerful than this thing will ever be. It'll split anything. It's seriously, and it's fast, and it's a really good splitter. I'm not knocking it at all. And if I do have great big stuff to split, that's the thing I'll be using. But I'm just talking about for your run-of-the-mill stuff, this splitter should be the thing to use. Bill Webb says, in spite of my left knee acting up, I was able to run a 5K Thanksgiving morning. My son-in-law and daughter and grandson went with me. All I can say is I didn't die. Yeah. Well, I used to be really good at running. That was one of my best things. As far as an athletic thing, I could always run really well. Not so much now. Not so much now. Tom Armstrong, the iced water wheel would make a lovely Christmas card, especially with lights. Boy, that would. It really would. Theron Corbett, have you seen the wood processor attachments for skid steers, cut to length and split at the same time. Yeah, I've seen a lot of them. Yeah, I have. Most of those are very expensive, just so you understand. I mean, they certainly don't give them away. For one that's an actual processor, I would say you're probably minimum of 20,000 and probably more than that. Let's see. Sidecar Bob, you missed Dave's line about UFOs. Well, I read it, but I didn't think I understood it. Sidecar Bob, anything? Or maybe I missed. Oh, you said you missed David's line about UFOs. David, let's see. Please make a video of it. Okay. I don't see. Oh, I see it there. If you identify a UFO, then it becomes just an FO. If it lands, it would be an O. Well, that's what I'd say if I saw one land out here in my field. I'd go, oh. Okay, yeah, you're right. I did miss that. I was wondering where that UFO comment came from. Let's see. Kim Williford, Waterwheel would be great with COR changing lights, although you wouldn't see it. You're colorblind when the lights would blink black and white. Black lights are, let's see, Tom Armstrong. I think we learn to run fast, especially when your dad's chasing you with a belt. That's for sure. Yep. Kim Williford says purple. Yep. Yeah, the light idea would be really cool there, except that I don't have my generator going yet to power it. There's no good electric anywhere close. It's 100 feet away, the electric is. So, I mean, I could easily run a cord over there, but the cord has to run across the driveway, which ain't a good idea. And, but I could do my generator idea with charging batteries, but there's really not enough power there to be truthful. It's just a trickle of water. It just keeps it barely turning. I don't think it would turn my generator. So, just one of them deals. I mean, you could always put just a car battery there and recharge it or something and make it work. There's ways to make it happen. Let's just say it that way. I get it, but I'm not sure it's worth the hassle. If I didn't have anything else to do, I'd probably be doing that. But I got so much to keep track of now, I can't say grace over all of it. Well, guys, I think that's going to be it. Thank you all for being here. And got 138 viewers. That's good. And we will see you tomorrow with something else. And hopefully it'll be with a video of actually using the splitter. That would be really cool. We'll see you then.